I want to wish him a happy 9th birthday. So, I mean, it's amazing that we share a birthday first and foremost. But hey, happy 9th birthday, man. It's great to have you. Let's jump into this match, 40.
We're jumping into it right now, and you know, at least someone gets 30 minutes on the computer. So, starting off Tribald here is Av3k, trying to make sure that there's no onslaught from Rapha. All in all, a slow start here as Rapha has the Doom ability to just jump around the map and control center map easily. Av3k again, the slide for the speed, but not necessarily the scaling of getting across the map.
Yeah, and in very traditional form, these two players starting things off a little chill, 40, and to be expected. We've seen this time and time again, especially from Rapha. He just likes to make sure that he's not going in full on Rapha, and Av3k is doing kind of the same thing. So obviously exchanging a lot of fire here early on. May actually see the first frag as the LG battle kicks off here, and this looks not good. Peeker is going to come out. Rapha taking some solid damage there, and Av3k's going to chase. No armor on Av3k, though, so he will back up. So both players, I'm expecting, will be picking up the pace here as we continue on, making sure that they've got their arsenal weapons needed. Nice rail coming out there for Rapha with a rocket that will equalize things. And heavy picked up by Rapha. Big rocket jump. The chase is on. Can't get that railgun angle. And Av3k gets away.
Just lives to fight another day, but you could tell Rapha knew blood was in the water. The rocket jump aggressively to get the rail angle, just couldn't connect, but the play was right. Av3k with an LG, the last stand, as Rapha takes the first frag here on Deep Embrace. But still, after all that, solid LG damage from Av3k. That LG is very strong.
Yep. It is very strong, and get caught back there. Not a whole lot you're going to do. Had to put his feet down, just take the fight. Didn't really work out in his favor. Tribal damage coming out from Rapha as he will once again control that heavy. Another volley of tribal damage, and now again using those rocket jumps to his advantage. Jumping rail comes out. Av3k trying to play that defensive rail. Nice rocket from Rapha as he is just setting up nice. I mean, reading Av3k real nicely. He has full control here, 40. This is not looking good as he catches Av3k once again, even stealing away that light. This is a complete lockdown by Rapha right now.
The calm that comes over Rapha, knowing that, okay, my opponent is so weak, I'm just going to take more from him rather than push for the frag, is terrifying. It's like serial killer level of good. And I feel like EU Rapha is even scarier than ONA Rapha as the rocket plants Av3k from up above, and just a great start. It's not action-packed, but two rails in a row. But Rapha's just snowballing in momentum right now,
He just looks so good. Big shotgun blast, but is it going to be enough? A rocket connects from Av3k as well, but a rail and a rocket for the trade. Av3k does get the frag, but Rapha with the from the grave. He is up by 3 now, 3 minutes left to go. And even off the spawn, he's going to get a little bit of control. Av3k catches him with the railgun out, and the shotgun can't get the job done, despite the fact that Rapha, despite the fact that Rapha picked up the heavy there, 40. Av3k was able to bring that right back, which is really impressive considering the string of frags that we just saw out of Rapha.
Oh, the rail through the tele 8 HP. Does Av3k press forward? He can. He's got 50 HP, but the clutch rail, and you're absolutely right. After all of that, Av3k is still throwing his punches, his haymakers to keep it close. He's only down by 1.
You know, they're like in that first 3 minutes, 40, it just seemed like Rapha knew exactly where Av3k was. Off of that trade, he kind of lost that map sense overall on where his opponent was. Got caught with that railgun out, but now he's got another LG battle going down into the wire. Rapha picks that one up 5-3. You know, Av3k caught Rapha out with that rail. There wasn't much that he could do. Now the question is how is Av3k going to bring it back? That's a great start, getting that heavy. And we saw the wave coming out by the peeker, but it's not going to be enough. Those dance moves won't quite get it done. Rapha with another great rail, but Av3k picking up the frag, making it a 1-point game, 5-4, as we're about to hit that 5-minute mark.
Just amazing play from Av3k right now to keep it close and maybe even tie it right here as he catches him out. Perfect play from Av3k. And I'll never forget in the post-game interview for one of the sets where Av3k just said, you know, Quake is like boxing, and that's exactly what this was. Rapha hit a couple great punches, but Av3k with punches of his own with the nail gun getting it done, looking like Bob Villa out here, 6-5 with a heavy pickup, and now momentum firmly in Av3k's favor.
Absolutely. I mean, I love what you said, reinforcing what Av3k said about boxing. It was exactly right. Rapha was the aggressor. Av3k looked like, oh, this doesn't look good. He's turtling some shots, but stayed at it, saw an opening, went for it, and now he's got the lead. Just barely misses that rail that probably would have resulted in yet another fragment, get 7-5, but Rapha gets away. Now a fight over the heavy. LG's out, and once again, Av3k is just one step ahead of his opponent. And although Rapha was there and the timing was about right, it was Av3k who had the weapon set and the positioning that came out on top. But Rapha with the tri-bolt from above, 6
How often
to
do you
7.
see that?
You don't. You don't see it often at all.
Rapha just heard the telly, and again, more tribal. The onslaught doesn't stop as Av3k trying to get some damage here. The peeker out, the rocket up the jump pad, plants him 7-all, Wheat. As now we got a game. I mean, it's always been a game, but we're tied again. Damage pouring out from both players in the rail. Nice shot from Rapha there to take the lead.
Can we talk about that tying frag? Because that was very risky. You know, the peeker went down, but Rapha decided to go up the jump pad, a perfectly placed rocket. But you could imagine if that rocket did not hit its mark. There's another nice direct rocket. That could have been real nasty, but Rapha's taken advantage. Now he's on, and he is the aggressor. He's now going to pick up another frag, making it 9-7. And once again, let's just talk about it. I know chat reinforces this, but I really do feel like Rapha has one of the best tri-bolts in the game. It's just incredible the way that he uses it as a zoning tool, even as a direct offensive tool. It's really quite impressive, and we're seeing it yet again, as this is a great, great start to this series.
Yeah, just fantastic weapon choice from Rapha here as he's raining down rockets from above. Nothing chunky yet. Trying to get some damage, just chipping. Has to be careful of not getting floated if he drops. And Av3k, after all of that, does bully his way onto the heavy. Does get damage as well. The next shot can win, and the rail through the drive-through window will plant him. But that play from Av3k was fantastic because it made Rapha use so many resources, so much armor, but the Mega bails him out again, and Av3k almost gets the refrag, but just can't do it. The Mega saves Rapha's life,
I think that Rapha was kind of feigning a little bit there because I'm not sure that jump through the drive-through window with see ya. I don't know that's gonna matter, but this is an opportunity, big opportunity for Av3k. And what I was saying is that, you know, Rapha hit that rail through the window. I think that Av3k thought Rapha was a bit weaker than he actually was. Staying on top of the Mega again will grab it. And Rapha still maintaining control, even though it looks a little sloppy. And that's partially just due to how well Av3k is hitting his shots. Another LG battle on the stairs, but it's going to be an easy peasy pickup for Rapha, making it 12-8. And how quickly the momentum can change.
When that rocket just right in the chest of Av3k. He could battle back and throw his punches, but Rapha's just hitting meteor ones right now, Wheat, as the Mega goes to Rapha, this time uncontested completely. Yeah,
I mean, the LG has been great from both players. The rails have been on point, but some of these direct rockets and tri-bolt shots that Rapha's been hitting, and he's having no problem defending and fighting from these positions. There was another pickup of the heavy. He kept the damage on, then went to the rail. Oh, almost sick timing on that rocket, but it didn't matter. The first rail and then the second rail as Strog just sits there completely defenseless as Peeker cannot get the job done. 15-8. Looks like with a pause there, that is probably going to be the end of that game. How close that one was, 40. Through and through, especially those first 4 minutes and that comeback from Av3k, but Rapha really turning the tables once again as the game progressed.
Yeah, and Av3k just kind of saying, you know what, this is out of reach. I just need a minute to reset. I'm going to take some time to compose myself going into map number 2, and that's a play that you could certainly do. That's championship level Quake, knowing, hey, this is out of my reach. I need this extra minute to get back into it for map number 2 because there's still 2 maps to go. Av3k still has an absolute chance to take this 2-1. But yeah, fantastic back and forth play. But you could see, like, every time Av3k would get a frag, rapha would get 1 and like 1.5, 1 3/4, and just do better chip damage. And eventually, just Av3k couldn't fight back, and rapha snowballed out of control. But a fantastic first map. But what scares me is what you mentioned, where you thought if Av3k falls on this one, it could landslide into a 3-0. And that's why I think taking that extra minute and just saying, you know what, this is yours, that's fine. I just need this to, like, compose myself. And I think that's a big play. That's a big brain play from Av3k, and I'm glad to see it right there.
Yeah, and I mean, Av3k had such a remarkable comeback there. I mean, rapha looked really strong off the start. I kind of had that slow moment, both players sizing one another up, but then rapha kind of got that momentum going. Av3k was able to stop that, had some really nice shots. They had that trade. It worked out well. Where I really feel like the game changed in rapha's favor was when they had the fight on the on each side of the heavy wall, and then the other, the other side. I don't think that Av3k should have took that fight. It was an easy rail for rapha. It looked like the machine gun came out for Av3k. It just was not going to be enough. And I don't know. I mean, right? Hindsight's 2020. We can look back and be like, oh, that was silly. Should have done this or should have done that. And in the moment, seemed like the right thing to do. Sometimes you think you've done a certain amount of damage to your opponent, and you've got a clean up kill, but it just didn't work out. And here it is right there. That was a beautiful shot, seeing it from rapha's perspective there. I saw it from Av3k's, and that was a little rough.
Yeah, definitely rough. And that whole engagement at that heavy, you saw Av3k just pushing in, rapha doing chip damage, not really landing anything big. And Av3k worked so hard to get in the heavy, but in the end, that kind of snowballed out of control and was maybe potentially the decisive frag for rapha as we take a look at the stats. 15-8 for map number 1. And I'm just interested to see if Av3k's back, because again, we're all worried kind of about, if you lose map number 1 to rapha, maybe that's not going to be great based on the picks and the maps we see, but I think that extra minute is magic, Weed. I just have this feeling. Even though I said 3-0, I always want to see close Quake because, we as fans get to win every time it's a close game. So, we'll see.
For sure. And this will be an interesting one on Blood Covenant. In fact, I think we saw this exact matchup last week. If I go through my notes, I'm wrong. It was I was thinking Kilson Cypher, but Kilson played Slash actually, and Cypher played Visor. However, a similar situation of someone who might get the vision advantage versus someone who's got the need for speed. And you all know, I don't need to tell you this story because you know how this goes. It's up to Av3k to kind of keep that and potentially grab an early lead and hold on to it. In a situation where a faster champ gets that lead, it becomes a real tall order to try to chase that rabbit down and get the frags that you need to take it back. So that's one of the reasons I was a little concerned for Av3k here in map 2.
Yeah, I think patience is absolutely going to be key, and we're going to see if that comes into play. I mean, rapha, he's more than comfortable aggressing a lot, especially with that inject.
Definitely.
Having that pocket, inject is going to be huge. So we'll see which rapha comes out, which Av3k comes out. And again, the adaptation from both of these players mid-game is just unmatched. So we might see the game evolve within 10 minutes 3 or 4 different times.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing too, you mentioned that rapha's playing out of the Team Liquid training facility. It might change the way that both these players play a little bit. And I think once rapha found some comfort, knowing that, like, okay, no considerations needed here, that's a little scary too. So we'll see how things. Wow! Right off of the bat, look at that plasma coming out from rapha. He did not get the frag, but he kind of bullied Av3k out of there. Great rocket from Av3k, gonna try to follow up with that LG, but oh my god! The plasma just does so much work, and rapha picks up that first frag again. Gotta give the guy credit. He takes weapons that are used much less 40, and he figures out how to make them work for himself.
And Rapha looking like Kid Sister out here with those pro nails and the aggression that we talked about. Yeah, I guess we're going to get an aggressive Rapha here. EU Rapha is terrifying.
Yep.
As he is up by 1, uses that inject to grab that armor, the lower armor denial into the heavy again, and just like that, look at that stack on Anarchy.
It's a big stack. We got the rockets coming in. Gosh, these rails are just going to make a huge difference for Rapha. He gets Av3k out of Mega Room, but now he's going to be on the hunt. And what is Av3k going to do? Vision was popped only about 25 seconds till he sees it again. And Rapha knows exactly where his opponent is. Big pop-up rocket and pinned him to the wall. 2-0 as Rapha finds Av3k down below, checking out the wine cellar. Fortunately, it was empty. LG coming out. Will follow up the rail. Misses that one. Tri-bolt coming out. Av3k has a chance here. But is he going to play aggressive? Rocket jump over to the side. I'm just really impressed with the acrobatics that we're seeing from both of these players right here. Definitely playing dangerously, but I like it.
I love to see it. I mean, Rapha with the rocket jump just to prevent Av3k from getting rockets. Weapon denial is fantastic. Just missing out with that rail, unfortunately. And Av3k is going to start running that lower armor that we saw Rapha running into and chaining into heavy. But now Av3k has slightly broken that map control. And now, ooh, the jump over. A little bit risky here again, playing with fire, or playing with LG rather, as Rapha now on the weaker side, and that rocket pop's going to be huge. Can he get follow-up damage? The rail somehow connects for Rapha, and now the LG has vision popped, and it's a fight to the death, and the LG and Rapha comes out on top again, Wheat.
I do think that was the right move by Av3k to take that fight right there. It was very close, believe it or not, down to 35 points of health for Rapha. But, you know, it's like a tough situation that Av3k is in, and, you know, down by 3, he's got to be really careful. You know, I don't think Rapha's just going to go into any sort of turtle mode anytime soon, but even like a 5-frag lead would be very, very scary, and Rapha does not have any issue traversing the map. He's hitting those rail shots. There's another one right between the columns. Now make his way over to the heavy, and just look at the map awareness of Rapha, you know, spamming every corner over to the other side, pins his opponent to the wall as he goes up the jump pad, and he went from one major item to a second major item in a matter of moments, nanoseconds. I don't know how you'd measure that, 40, but it just goes to show the champion difference that we're seeing Av3k go up against.
Just so speedy, able to traverse between the items so fast that I think it caught Av3k off guard. I'm not sure why he was so high up in the air. It sounded like a rocket jump off of the jump pad, but Rapha gets there quick enough to pin him to the sky with the LG, and again, he's able to just do damage as he wants, get in and out, and just traverse the map so fast, and now Av3k just fighting for his life on this Mega. He's able to take it, but now he's going to take more damage as well. Rapha slowly starting to back up, wants a rail, he's going to miss, and he's going to use the inject for a little bit of insurance. So now Av3k has cut him off, but he can't get away from the rail, and again, Rapha prevails, and this is just a nightmare for Av3k right now,
You got to give Av3k some respect, though. I mean, the fact that he's like surviving as long as he is in some of these fights is incredible. And I mean, I guess suppose that Rapha is kind of a light here, and we're gonna have another fight over by the Mega. But you know, Av3k is a confident player for sure, letting that LG do some work. Unfortunately, just not able to get the job done. And Rapha, between his rail and his rockets and everything else he's throwing out, just real nasty. And there he catches Av3k completely turned around. Had no idea where Rapha was coming from. And here we're going to see another fast movement over to the Mega. Up the jump pad he goes, and Jet comes out. Rocket's going to get up close and personal, but that LG does some work. And Av3k with the jumping rail from up above is finally on the board.
And just a huge fight for Av3k right there. Not only winning it, but able to take more map control now slowly, and has the vision back almost instantaneously to try and pin down exactly where Rapha is. And at the 5-minute warning, this is as good as it's going to get for Av3k. So he has to try and make do with what he has, using that lower armor shard, but the heavy will be taken. And hopefully he's still got track of it in his mind, as he is going to claim another Mega. So good opportunity here for Av3k to slowly claw his way back into this one, Wade.
Yeah, I think the next couple minutes are going to be pretty big. If Av3k could get one more frag, I think that would at least put him in, well, I mean, obviously it's going to put him in a better spot, but he needs to start thinking about that clock hitting 10 minutes. Nice rails exchanged as Av3k is looking for an opportunity. Obviously doesn't have the same speed, and we're already seeing some of this. Look at the rocket jump dodge coming out from rapha as well. He knows exactly where his opponent is. Now, this is the first time that Av3k has kind of had some item control here and 2 great rails coming out, but then look again at how fast we see rapha just get on the escape, and there's not much that he can do. Oh my God, yes, up the jump pad of the sickest rail, and now the vision comes out. If he can use this as an opportunity, he knows where he is down below. Huge rocket to the face, and in the LG room, picks up another one. And I mentioned that I thought another frag in Av3k's favor would be especially helpful, and this is exactly the setup that he needs in order to be thinking about a comeback. But don't forget about the speed that rapha has. If he can get an arsenal, if he can start grabbing those weapons, and if Av3k misses a rail 2 in a row, rapha in the danger zone yet again. Can Av3k pick up the 4th? That would be huge.
Av3k hitting 75% rail and playing with such patience. For the first frag of the comeback, he didn't use his vision at all, knowing that rapha was weak. Instead, after he got the frag, popping it so he can get the frag off of the spawn and make the deficit even less, and it's just really sublime play from Av3k. The rocket somehow missing, and that's so unfortunate for rapha's. Now Av3k is down in the pillars. Rapha has better positioning, and he stole away the mega. That's heartbreaking, Weed.
It is. I thought that that rocket was going to be a direct hit. And this is a scary moment. Oh my gosh, as Av3k is searching for just any sort of health bubble, he gets tagged by a rail from rapha coming from across the map. And now he's got to be thinking about not taking any of these fights, but how am I going to put a stack back together? And there we're going to have vision come out. That will give him an opportunity to reposition here. We'll be having a fight over the heavy, but a huge rocket into the rail combo. Not much that Av3k can do. Rapha knows he's very low, and the machine gun will drill him down and put the final holes inside, but the machine gun right back as Av3k will recover by grabbing that mega, and he's in a good spot, but needs that full arsenal, right? He's got a rail, a tribal, and a machine gun. Needs to get his hands on a rocket launcher as well. There's the LG. He'll be looking for that, and now at least he's a little bit in a little bit better spot. But 2 minutes 40. That's like the race could begin here for rapha. He could just start running away.
He could indeed, and with rails and damage like this, just baiting items for damage now, as Av3k has to grab them and has to make his move, and just unfortunate positioning here. Good rail with the vision. Going for a follow-up, and rapha's actually going to give it to him, trying to deny rockets, and instead takes a lot of damage. So opportunity here for Av3k, but he's got to play this cat and mouse game without vision now. There's the inject, decent rocket, LG up the jump pad, but nothing doing. 14 seconds till the mega, so Av3k's just here to try and get the frag, but rapha with the defensive rail holds the zone, and now we got a minute 20 with a 4 frag deficit for Av3k.
It's just amazing that rapha doesn't care that he's on the lower level. He's got kind of a disadvantage fighting from down below, but he makes it work between the tri-bolt and some of those rails that we're seeing. Just absolutely crazy. Unfortunately, Av3k in another position where, unfortunately, he's going to have to take a risk to get out, and he does hightail it down below through the lower levels. Through the teleporter, big hits coming out. Rapha down to 28, and avoids a rail and hits one of his own. Rapha's still very low. There it is, Av3k with the shotgun blast, but less than 1 minute to go. Can he realistically make up 3 frags? I'd love to say yes, but I think it's going to be hard as hell.
Yeah, I mean, Av3k is a fantastic player, but I just don't think this matchup lends itself to the 3 frag comeback, especially on this map as the war wages with machine guns and just so much damage that Av3k can't push forward even if he wanted to, Weed. It's just too crippling, and I think this is going to be rapha's map number 2 taking the series, and just such a good game between these two. This is incredible. You love to see it. We're spoiled.
We really are. It has been great. You know, rapha is going to be up 2-0 after this. Looks like 7-4 will be the final score. But I completely agree with you. Av3k has still shown these moments of brilliance, and he is a player who is completely capable of such things. But we saw some amazing shots. I just really think it's a tough champion matchup on that one. Certainly, Rapha was having no issues with the speed of Anarchy and some of those drive-by rails and rockets, even the tri-bolt that we were seeing once again. Don't forget about the plasma or the nails, like right off of the bat. It just seemed like Rapha, being very comfortable, decided to go into that to Blood Covenant, saying, I'm going to grab a weapon, whatever is closest to me, and I'm just going to be aggressive right off of the bat. It netted him that first frag and ultimately the series win. But Av3k brought that back, and these have been a lot closer games than even the scores have shown. But it's all going to come down to this last one, Vale, with Rapha on the Ranger and Av3k on the Galena. And can Av3k bring it back based off of what we've seen? Think he's capable, but Rapha is playing like a monster right now.
Absolutely a monster. I think the pivotal moment for me is when Av3k was aggressing onto the Mega. Rapha was taking a jump head up, and those two rockets didn't connect the way that I thought they would. And if Av3k was already kind of spiraling with momentum, that was an absolutely huge fight there. And unfortunately for Av3k, it went Rapha's way. 7-4 is going to be the final map score as we take a look at the stats. But I completely agree with you. Av3k showing everybody that is like, you know, even if when I'm down, I'm never out. I'm always in this. It's just a couple decisions and a couple rockets that really didn't go his way. And I feel like it could have gone his way on that, and maybe still can on map number 3, although mentally it's tough to go 0-2 and be like, I can't believe I lost that. I was so close with the comeback, the momentum, but like, this is the pro level. I mean, he's able to reset, he's able to come into the third map with hopefully a fresh outlook and maybe get some pocket change, but we'll see. Rapha, again, scary as always. It's scarier than usual, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say scarier than usual. I mean, let's think about that. Anytime international play is occurred, right? You probably, as a player, are kind of taking that into spot as great as the ping balances, attempt to be in the map selections and the server selections, etc. You've got to imagine, right? Like in EU, it's kind of just like playing on LAN. Right? I mean, like, let's call it what it is. Your internet's awesome over there in the EU. I've always been eternally jealous, but that's the equivalent, I think, of what we're seeing Rapha. And that mentality probably changes a little bit when you're like, okay, let's take a few less rail shots or make sure that we're certain about these, where, right, this is practically like a LAN game right now.
I mean, he'll be the first to admit, if you ever watch Rapha practicing on stream, he's like, you know what? They won't get away with that on LAN. So with the ping difference being a little bit easier, maybe that's why we're seeing this aggression. Also, maybe the nail gun changes help a little bit. I mean, that's what doing your research, reading the patch notes, trying it out does for you, because you're absolutely right. On the start of that, he was like, I'm just going to grab this nail gun. I'm going to go in right now. And we're going to go into map number 3 and see if Rapha can put up a 3-0 or if Av3k can hit the haymaker he needs to put a map on the board.
You know, Av3k really does need a big old haymaker. And is it possible with Galena? Sure. I do think it's possible. Good setups, getting those totems out. But it's all going to depend kind of on this first little exchange as, another delay of that Mega. A little bit longer. And this is going to be real interesting to start this match off, because grab the Mega and now we'll set up for this heavy. If he wins the heavy fight, he's going to have a clear track over the Mega. Didn't see his opponent, had an idea on exactly where he was at, got aggressive with the orb, boom, and now the heavy is up. He's going to grab that. We'll be able to easily transition over to the Mega, and that was a very, very 5-head delay of the Mega in order. And look at that, I mean, Av3k is there, but maybe a little early, and it's not going to pay out for him. That worked out perfectly for Rapha. He knew exactly what he was doing from the opening salvo of that match.
Absolutely. And Av3k looked good for a little bit there, that dodging, where it was like the cooler dodge, where it was like, I'm not going to move, I'm going to move a little bit, and it worked, but Rapha chained together what he needed to 2-0, and more importantly, still has full item control now, as Av3k is starting to build his totems, but the Rapha rocket cuts him off from the telly. He can't get away.
Going to try again. The orb comes out, but it's more just to zone Av3k away, and I'm okay with that usage. Av3k, though, here again, using that LG, great defensive position, making sure that Rapha can't just willy-nilly head on in and has to think about how he's going to take that battle. Rapha is going to be picking up that heavy, and now up 3-0. Av3k needs to find a frag and then start to hold on to some control here. One good news is that rapha is not necessarily doing much totem house cleaning. Is not taking care of those right now, and that could play well into Av3k's hands here soon. So we'll see what happens as Av3k extends himself, or rapha extends himself out a little bit. There we see one go down. Now he's going to go in for that heavy up a little bit there too early. Rockets coming out. Rapha's going to grab it, and he can easily take this fight.
The cutoff with the orb to make sure there's no shenanigans and Av3k doesn't get away into the rail as well. And yeah, rapha taking that extra second to clear out at least one totem, making sure the overstack doesn't really come into play. And even when it did, it feels like rapha's just doing so much damage, it doesn't really matter. Big rockets, and Av3k just getting caught out again.
Yep, clears another totem with his face, which is okay.
Face clearing still counts.
You can do that. Might have to give up that heavy, and will indeed do that, but immediately going to head on over to the Mega. Rockets already firing in. Oh my God, he is just hitting godlike rockets today. Perfect bounces in his favor, 6-0. And what a solid opening 3 minutes here for rapha.
6-0, 3 minutes in. Rough start for Av3k, but again, saving grace as he's down early and there's still time to try and get back into this. That rail almost hitting, but the item control from rapha is just amazing. 10 major items to Av3k's 3. I mean, what can you do? And just like that, the aggression with the stack, knowing that you could just push at will, rapha's going to take that and run with it, Wheat.
I'm a little worried for Av3k here. I mean, these setups that we're seeing from rapha are just bonkers. They are just on point. Here we're going to get a little bit dirty there. Nice job by Av3k as he does put himself on the board. And this is going to be a crucial these next couple minutes. You know, if he can just keep control out of rapha's hands, it's what he needs in order to be thinking about any level of victory here, and it's not going to last very long as Mega's picked up, but it won't matter. rapha picking up his 9th frag in 4 minutes, and despite Av3k getting on the board, he's not going to be able to chase down those spawn frags very often if he cannot maintain some control.
It's just brutal right now. Absolutely brutal. A little bit of a rocket pop there from rapha. Trying to fight from below. There's the rocket jump taking the fight to him in the dire orb. Fearless from rapha. A little bit of LG to take the frag and bully him off the Mega. And this is a rapha that is terrifying, Wheat. The aggression coming out from him is just absolutely unmatched right now. And Av3k can't really match it. I mean, there's nothing he can do in this situation.
I mean, this is beautiful Quake 40, but there's no doubt about it. I'm going to have some nightmares about this rapha right here. You know, chats keeps on calling him EU rapha. I'll tell you what, is a scary rapha indeed. His aggression has really kind of been, gosh, I don't know. I mean, we know rapha can be aggressive, but it looks like a comfortable aggression, right? Where it's just like, I know I am going to kill my opponent. Therefore, yes, I'm going to go up in your face. I'm going to fire this orb. I'm going to bounce you up. I'm going to pin you to the wall. I got a frag. Let's go. And I feel like that is a little bit different than what we normally see out of rapha.
Yeah, and again, I think it's the comfort of, okay, these matches are a little more even on ping. Like, there's no necessarily shenanigans that my opponent can get away with. And rapha just showing he's firmly in control. And a lot of people in the chat that were like, you know what, rapha has an easy time in NA, blah, blah, blah. Well, what now? Again, I'm impartial, of course, as always, a professional Weed. But, I mean, this is a display that we're seeing from rapha in EU, week 3. I don't know.
It's looking... I mean, Dan's sweating right now. You know, he is.
Well, that's because he's at the gym eating chicken, doing bench press, whatever they do at the gym.
He's like, wow, maybe rapha can do it. He's looking as strong as ever. And you know, we can't forget what happened in the finals of the last stage, right? That probably didn't sit well with almost a 3-time champion right there. I'm not surprised in the grand scheme of things, 40. But we're 6 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. It is 10-1. the game continues on, but again, the aggression from Rapha is just almost too much for Av3k, and even if he does get some control, he's got to deal with this, you know, this Rapha who can get aggressive because he's got nothing to lose. He can give away a couple frags, and it would not be that big of a deal. That could be really scary in what we've got here in this matchup.
Indeed. I mean, this is, I think, the first showing of Rapha versus an EU opponent, with more to come, and this is quite the start. Av3k fighting back. Good rockets. Takes him out, plants him. 8 frag deficit with less than 3 minutes. I don't think that's something that can be done. As good as Av3k is, but... I mean, yeah, quite the display from Rapha. We said, as you mentioned, you know, map number 1 going to Rapha might lead to a snowball, and that's kind of exactly what we got here.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the map picks, and that second map pick, that one didn't sit super well with me, given the champion picks. I thought this one could go a little bit better, but again, I suppose I was not expecting Rapha to turn the heat up in the kitchen to you know, turning the boiler on, basically, is what's happening here. 11-2, so it absolutely is going to go in Rapha's favor, and it's going to be another very, very clean victory here for Rapha. I think there's no doubt about it between what we've seen from Kilson and what we've seen from Rapha so far this season. Not to say other players are not going to prove themselves throughout the season here, 40, but those two are looking mighty spicy, and I think someone said they will meet up in, I believe, week 7. So either way, we're gonna be getting a lot of special Quake treats here over the next 18 weeks.
I love it. I love it. Nice long season, worldwide content and gameplay here. As another skirmish in the Thunderdome, but Rapha comes out on top, and yeah, just insane play from Rapha. It's not all the time that you see Rapha off spawn charge in with a nail gun, and yes, that's probably because, okay, Anarchy has inject, the nail gun got a little bit of a buff, and the ping is better, but still, like, it's not all the time you see that, so when the conditions are perfect, now you see that Rapha will just balls to the wall aggression, and it pays off, and it's just insane to see. It's very scary.
What a dodge into the tribal through the floor. And you know what? It is funny because, oh, he's chasing him down. The totem comes out, but not going to matter. You know, the funny thing is, 40, you were talking about that opening of map number 2, and if Rapha would have gotten, you know, melted somehow, right, if that did not work out, chat would have been like, oh my god, why would he even try that? That was ridiculous. But of course he looked like a literal Quake god when he did that right off the bat, as if he had a plan. You know, this is our opening kickoff, this is what we're gonna do, and he stuck to it, and it played out perfectly. However he visualized that happening in his head, well, that's exactly what we saw happen. But in the final seconds of the tick down, 17-2, was I expecting this score, 40? I was not. I think that is quite a showing here from Rapha, especially given the first 2 games and, you know, how close I thought that those actually were. But Rapha was playing like a beast, like a monster, and GG.
Definitely looking like the final boss of the Quake Pro League, which we've seen before. Quite the set. Just, yeah, Rapha is a scary, scary human right now. But Lethal, let's bring him back and see what he thought about this set. Did it blow your mind, Lethal?
It did. The third map was just... it was just a joke, wasn't it? But you kind of felt like at the 9-1 mark, Av3k just put his hands on the head and just went, yeah, I'm done. Like, you know, there's nothing more we can do. I kind of feel like Rapha's also improved his Veil game a lot more in comparison. He says he enjoys it the most. It is his favourite map, even if it's not statistically, I'll say every time. But he does look much, much better and a lot more consistent from what we normally seen before, because in previous opponents he's played against some Veil, he gives his opponents a little bit more room, a little bit more opportunities in order to come back. But I don't think we saw any of that. I don't think there was a moment where I kind of felt like Rapha, it was out of his hands in any way. It was just a great showing. Av3k on the second map on Blood Covenant, he put on a great performance. I think Visor was a great pick. Visor's always been very good on Blood Covenant, but yeah, it was just a real shame. Av3k played well, but Rapha is just an absolute monster, isn't he? Let's be real.
You know that like it seemed like that 10-minute game actually was 2 hours, but thinking back to 2 hours ago, the opening of Veil on Rapha's part with the super delay of the Mega was, I think, also pretty huge, and just kind of throwing this. You're not expecting this wrench into Av3k's own game plan. It just worked out beautifully for Rapha. And quite impressive.
Yeah, that was like an 18-second delay, wasn't it? It wasn't 5 or 10. He made it so bad.
Yeah,
that
it was
the timings
huge.
were segregated heavily, and then he just wanted full control straight away, wouldn't he? He was being very greedy.
Yep, very greedy. But if you've got that confidence, right? Sometimes playing greedy is exactly what you need. It can really work against you, and then it could snowball. But it's impressive to see some of the aggression that we saw today from Rapha.
Impressive and terrifying. So maybe putting other
Nightmares.
players on notice. Maybe just being like, hey, with the high ping, or the lack of high ping, no more shenanigans. We'll see. We'll see for the weeks to come, as I believe he will be in EU for about 2.5 months to play through some of the QPL games. But, gentlemen, as weird as it is to say this early, we only have one set left, so we're going to take a quick break, and then we are going to bring you Wenger versus Bait to close out the day. Versus Base, not Bait. Sorry, that was a bait, but we'll be back, so don't go anywhere. One final match to finish off the day here at Quake Pro League. We'll see you soon.